that if we're getting reports of Ubisoft being sold to Tencent, this Chinese video games giant, which is known for its mobile gaming, there will be some reaction.
On March 31, 2025, Ubisoft revealed its worst collapse in a decade. Its valuation plunged from $12 billion to just $1.78 billion. Imagine building one of gaming's biggest empire, Rayman, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Tom Clancy, defining a generation with hidden blades, Parker Revolution, open worlds, only to watch it collapse in real time. So how did the innovator-in-chief of open world gaming spiral into this trap? This is the tragic story of how greed, chaos, and creative collapse destroyed one of gaming's most beloved studios and the one move that could still save it. Saint-Malo, France. 5 Guillemot brothers launched a small distributor that would soon birth Zombie, Prince of Persia, and the revolutionary Rayman, selling over 400,000 units in its first year. From these modest beginnings, the seeds are sown for what will become a global powerhouse in interactive entertainment. By the turn of the millennium, Ubisoft has transformed into a publishing juggernaut. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, and Far Cry each redefined their respective genres, cementing Ubisoft's reputation for innovation and technical prowess. Fans flock to these new worlds, hungry for the next frontier in gaming. In 2007, Assassin's Creed debuts with lush visuals, fluid Parker, and a narrative hook unlike anything before, selling millions and setting a new industry standard. 2 years later, Assassin's Creed 2 shatters expectations again, moving over 9 million copies worldwide and proving that Ubisoft's storytelling and gameplay could capture a generation's imagination. Between 2011 and 2019, Ubisoft enters its Undisputed Golden Era. This was the peak Ubisoft, a well-oiled content-creating machine releasing blockbuster after blockbuster. Every year brought something new. Far Cry, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, The Crew, The Division. Ubisoft wasn't just growing, it was everywhere. By 2019, it operated more than 40 studios globally, with over 18,000 employees working in harmony across time zones. That's a feat very few publishers have ever matched. By 2020, Ubisoft had evolved from publisher to empire. Bookings soared, brand loyalty was strong, and in FY 2020, Ubisoft posted record bookings of £2.31 billion and an operating profit of £401.5 million, more than doubling its 2017 revenue and outpacing rivals like Take-Two at the time. While Electronic Arts and Activision Blizzard still reigned supreme with annual revenue north of $4 to $7 billion, Ubisoft was closing in on the industry's top tier, leaving most European competitors in the dust. They weren't just making hits, they were setting industry standards. But was this golden age built on solid ground, or was it a house of cards just waiting to collapse? By 2013, Ubisoft was on top of the world. But behind the scenes, the seeds of its undoing were being sown. Ambition morphed into over-promising, and a relentless yearly grind began to drain the very lifeblood from its creativity. At E3, Watch Dogs dazzled with promises of a fully dynamic hack-everything playground, traffic lights obeying your commands, pedestrian reacting in real time, glistening next-gen visuals. But when Watch Dogs actually released, there was just one slight problem. The visuals did not quite match the promise. Did Ubisoft mislead gamers about Watch Dogs' next-gen graphics? The final product was a different story. Although it shattered sales records, shipping over 10 million copies, players discovered a downgrading of graphics, a lifeless open world, and a hacking system that felt more like button mashing than true innovation. The backlash was immediate, accusations of misleading marketing, and a community that felt betrayed by what should have been a showcase of Ubisoft's technical prowess. Next up, Assassin's Creed Unity. Marketed as a technical leap for the series' 2014 holiday season, Unity instead launched plagued by missing faces, broken animations, and brutal frame rate drops. Players fell through maps, missions glitched, and the bugs piled up so high that Ubisoft issued a public apology and handed out free DLC as compensation. Behind the scenes, the cause was clear: an annualized release schedule that forced Montreal studios into brutal time crunch, rushing Unity out the door before actually it was ready. When a studio's brightest mind start walking away, alarm should ring the loudest. And that's exactly what happened in 2014. Patrice Désilets, the visionary who birthed the original Assassin's Creed, left in protest of Ubisoft's relentless pace. Shortly after, Jade Raymond, the producer behind both Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, exited in search of creative freedom elsewhere. Their departure signaled a clear warning. Creativity was suffocating under deadlines, and Ubisoft's secret weapons were quietly slipping away. By 2015, Ubisoft doubled down on quantity over quality, releasing two Assassin's Creed games on the exact same day. This factory-like frenzy accelerated franchise fatigue, turning once eager fans into cynics who felt each sequel recycled the same tired formula. And even Rainbow Six Siege, celebrated for its tactical depth, wasn't immune. At E3 trailer promised advanced player animations, atmospheric destruction, and deep strategy. Instead, the retail release felt faster and more arcade-like, riddled with bugs and rampant hacking. Ubisoft's answer was Operation Health. What did it fix? Absolutely nothing. A year later, they added a chat sensor filter, while letting the core technical issues rage on. Investors and players alike began to wonder, if your flagship tactical shooter can't meet the bar you set, what hope is there for the rest of the lineup? These missteps, from broken promises to burnout, marked a turning point. Ubisoft's golden machine was now grinding against its own gears, setting the stage for the scandals, flops, and financial freefall that would soon follow. By the late 2010s, cracks began to show. Assassin's Creed Odyssey felt like a checklist. Vast world, yes, but lacking that spark. Many fans saw it as more of the same: tower climbing, icon-filled maps, and side quests that blending into a blur. Far Cry New Dawn, pink-hued Rado of Far Cry 5's map, and mechanics felt like DLC masquerading as a new game. The Division 2's live service grind underwhelmed. Fans cried for like, while developers quietly departed. Worst of all was Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Designed as a gritty open-world shooter, it instead became synonymous with the grind-heavy microtransactions, technical issues, and a fractured community. This flop cost Ubisoft over £400 million, and that triggered the first wave of nearly 1,500 layoffs to stem the bleeding. When your creative engine stalls, the machinery grinds to a halt. These mechanical misfires and the franchise fatigue left fans delusional and set the stage for a darker chapter in Ubisoft's history. Then came summer 2020. Metoo allegations erupt at Ubisoft's Toronto and Montreal studios. Senior creatives including Ashraf Ismail, man behind Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Serge Hoskote, resigned amidst reports of sexual and physical harassment. Multiple executives such as the co-founder of Ubisoft Toronto and vice president of editorial were forced to resign. Share price dipped nearly 9%, a public relations nightmare. And then came 2021's NFT fiasco. Ghost Recon Breakpoint introduced cosmetic NFTs. The YouTube reveal got 96% dislikes. This community backlash, it was a spectacle of tone-deaf monetization. NFTs may have been the most public misfire yet, but they were only the opening act for a series of calamities that would soon rock the company to its core. Ubisoft's last 3 years may have been a relentless parade of flops, delays, and disasters, each one hammering home how far the company has fallen from its glory days. Imagine pouring $200 million and 11 years into a pirate MMO called Skull and Bones, only to launch with fewer than 700 concurrent players on Steam. That's a $250 million flop. If Skull and Bones was the highest budget iceberg, The Crew was the final nail. In April 2024, The Crew was abruptly shut down, sparking backlash across Europe. Many players had paid for the game and its online features, leading to complaints under EU consumer laws and renewed scrutiny over the company's handling of live service titles. And then, as of August 30th, 2024, Star Wars Outlaws, developed by over 600 people, sticks at just 834 players. A catastrophic flop that quietly makes earnings statement note, softer than expected sales. Yikes. These aren't isolated misfires, they are the telltale signs of a company in freefall, reliant on government bailouts, shuttering studios overnight, and rolling out flagship titles that barely make a ripple. Ubisoft has burned the trust of players and investors alike. Hundreds of layoffs and broken promises later, the once unstoppable titan is grasping for air. If mismanagement and hype cycle can topple the mightiest gaming empire, what hope is there for those who ignore the warning signs? Just as Ubisoft weathered financial freefall and restructuring, Assassin's Creed Shadows courted a new storm. While players globally loved the Ghost of Tsushima game from Sucker Punch and expected something similar if not better from Ubisoft, but Ubisoft instead chose to go woke instead of focusing on giving players a respectful, stress-free journey into feudal Japan. They had everything. Over years, they had perfected sword fighting, open world filled with quests, and this game was their chance at redemption. And once again, they failed miserably. God knows why they chose a black man to tell a story of a Japanese samurai. Who authorized it? Even a kid would have told you this will be a marketing blunder. Gamers love a story, they love a good fight, and they miss this important bit. But survival demands honesty, something Ubisoft avoids at all costs. And while Shadow battled cultural firestorms, executive weaponized softer metrics in earning calls. Ubisoft highlights strong community sentiment and player engagement, but never reveal raw unit sales or pre-orders. Why? Their $70 flagship games simply can't sell at full price. They rely on deep discounts, 70 to 85% off to move units. And players, they wait for these sales. Engagement stats work well for a free-to-play game, but never for $60 AAA games. What worse can come from here? Well, it's just the beginning. The worst is still yet to hit. Meanwhile, rivals surge ahead. Electronics, Art, and Take-Two now rack in $7 billion and $5 billion in annual revenue, respectively, putting Ubisoft number in the rearview mirror. The gap is no longer a crack, it's a canyon. When a gaming titan stock nosedives and a foreign tech giant steps in, is it a lifeline or the end of the creative freedom? Remember when I said the worst is yet to come? Well, here it is. Tencent has arrived, and a £1 billion Tencent deal buys 25% stake in a new subsidiary that will control Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. With Tencent already holding 49% of Ubisoft's parent company, the Chinese giant's grip tightens, raising serious questions about Ubisoft's future autonomy. For a studio that once prided itself on independence and innovation, this Tencent deal could mark the moment Ubisoft stopped calling the shots. Inside Ubisoft, morale is rock bottom. Leak complaints speak of toxic positivity. Any critic gets shut down. Developer leaves in droves. When your people abandon ship, quality usually collapses. Cost cutting now targets £300 million over 2 years, meaning more layoffs are incoming. Ubisoft's own future employees are worried. Studios close and projects vanish without warning. Our minor shareholder accused of Gullimats and Tencent of discounting Ubisoft's value to buy shares cheaply and seize control. Conspiracy theories spread. Did Tencent plant Yasuke to tank the stock? In truth, Ubisoft's share price had already cratered by over 70% since 2021, driven by game failures, misguided NFT bets, and loss of player trust. You have hit the nail on the head about Ubisoft's struggles. It's wild how peers like EA and Take-Two found their footing after the pandemic, while Ubisoft just seemed to double down on every mistake imaginable. We are talking NFTs, microtransactions shoved into single-player games, and those endless recycled open worlds. If they want to survive, they absolutely have to ditch the quantity over quality mindset and start innovating again. Phoenix Gambit. Burn it all down to rebuild. This is the high-risk, high-reward play. Imagine Ubisoft actually clearing house, gutting the old leadership, and bringing in fresh, visionary talent, obsessed with making genuinely polished, innovative games. They'd have to completely ditch the NFT pipe dreams and those predatory microtransactions. The idea here is to bet everything on crafting one undeniable, genre-defining AAA masterpiece. It's the only shot at regaining relevance, but man, it would take some serious guts to pull off. Alternatively, Ubisoft could just take the easy money from Tencent. This means handing over real power and swapping out creative freedom for a massive cash infusion. Sure, they'd survive financially, but at what cost? They'd essentially become a satellite studio, serving Tencent's massive empire. Picture this, Assassin's Creed designed by committee or Far Cry with even more microtransactions. This path saves the company, but it might just cost them this soul. Zombie mode, the slow, humiliating fade. And then there is this terrifying zombie mode. This is where they just keep shuffling forward, pumping out the same old annual sequel slop and half-baked live service content. They'd keep trying to milk their remaining local players dry with endless discounts while the current leadership clings to power. In this scenario, talent would flee in droves, their once great IPs would slowly rot, and investors would finally just pull the plug. It wouldn't be a sudden death, but a slow, agonizing fade into bargain bin obscurity. Truth is, there are no easy wins here, and every single path involves some serious pain. The big question is, which wound can Ubisoft endure to actually survive and rebuild their legacy? What do you think is the best or least worst option? Ubisoft fall is a cautionary tale. Ignore your customer, churn out formulaic products, monetize at every turn, and watch your empire crumble. What was your favorite Ubisoft moment? And do you believe they can rise again? Drop your thoughts below. If you like this video, do like and subscribe. Thanks guys. Until next time.